great transition. Let's move into we can move into that. Donovan Mitchell. I'm sure everyone's heard the reports, but just to repeat, he is disturbed and unsettled by the stepping down of Quinn Snyder, which I would be too. Quinn Snyder's always been a great coach. They wanted him to stay, but he was just frustrated. He didn't think that he could coach them better than they were, and it was pretty sad press conferences if you've actually watched it. We've always been huge advocates for Quinn Snyder, saying he was a great coach. So certainly there's other spots that are opening up now, but now with that gone, Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert, they've clearly had their issues. I think we've pretty much decided that Donovan's more likely to go because he's been kind of more of that big market type player where that he'd want to lean towards, and Rudy Gobert, the defense he creates is just irreplaceable. So Donovan Mitchell, I think a great landing spot for him would be the Kings. What are you thinking?
Yeah, my only question is, how did the Kings get it done? Like, I think fantastic fit. They instantly have the best player on their squad, but are they trading away De'Aaron Fox to make it happen?
I'll tell you how they do. And this is how they keep their 3 stars, right? So Donovan Mitchell, just straight up, only Donovan Mitchell. So you got to throw in Harrison Barnes' contract. You get a decent vet, I guess. Then you get throwing young players, Terrence Davis, Davion Mitchell, and then the number 4th pick, and then another first-round pick on top of that. I don't know how many good picks, because the 4th pick is a very underrated thing. Because
I forgot they had that.
Yeah, 4th pick, because that's very underrated. Because you look at it and you're like, like
Rookie of the Year just won. This year he was the 4th overall pick, just won the Rookie of the Year this year is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. But also, like, just picking up you could pick up a first round from the Pistons. There's no guarantee it's going to be as high as 4. You know what I mean? Especially with the lottery odds.
Like a future first, you mean? Versus taking the guaranteed 4th overall pick and then taking a first round pick from someone else for a future year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, like you could shoot for the top 3. But the reality is that we have a lottery in our sport. So, like, you cannot guarantee that you're going to be top 3. You can't even hardly guarantee you'll be top 4. But with this trade, you would. And you'd get some other solid players. Hell, you'd get Mini Mitchell coming back into town anyways.
Yeah, you get another D Mitchell. But,
yeah, just give him number 45, and you don't even got to take the jerseys off the shelves.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even know. Just all that new stuff. But so if we look at this, that's suddenly the Kings get a big 3, right? And they get their number 1 scoring option. And I think it's a lot easier for Donovan Mitchell because he can. It came to the point where with the Jazz, he was doing so much he couldn't do the defense that he was known for when he came into the league. They were like, oh yeah, he can play this defense, and that's the defense he played on Paul George against that Clippers series in his rookie year. So that stuff was really interesting. It was really cool to see, and now he gets to lean into that more because he doesn't have to carry the offense like he did with the Jazz. Because you have De'Aaron Fox, and both of them can average 26 points per game. They've both done it. I mean, Donovan Mitchell just did it.
Yeah, Sabonis is a near 20 point per game scorer as well.
Exactly, and that's not even talking about Sabonis. Sabonis is also an all-star. All 3 of them are all-star type players. De'Aaron Fox, I think he can make it eventually. All things considered, he's played like an all-star. So I think that's definitely a big 3 that can contend in the West. However, doing that kind of depletes you. So what you're left, the next best player is Rashad Holmes. Can he fit at center? You might just have to figure it out unless you can find a decent trade for him. But
I mean, I think they've already been interested in trading Rashawn Holmes. I think that's been documented. So I'm curious to see who they'll try to replace him with. But, I think regardless, like Sabonis will probably move to center, and then maybe a power forward gets some more athletic guy who's got some shooting skill. I think that works out for them.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. I don't think they can go out and get a better player than Rashad Holmes because if they make this trade, they're kind of limited. Because the best
it's
two
not
players,
about getting a better player; it's about getting a better fit. Like
right,
straight up, Kings fans will tell you he does not fit the team right now.
No, yeah. So after Rashad Holmes, they only have 2 real rotational players, and it's Justin Holiday and Harkless. So you're pretty thin. So you're ending up this offseason relying on you have to sign Jeremy Lamb back, have to. and you have to sign Dante DiVincenzo to whatever he wants. Because if you don't sign those guys, you're just kind of left with no depth. So that
they got to sign those guys, no doubt, especially Dante.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy Lamb is huge for this offense too.
He's a good shooter.
He's a really good shooter to throw in there, and next to Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, you really need shooters, and especially if they bring back Dante DiVincenzo, they're going to struggle with having shooters. So whomever they get back for Rashad Holmes, they better hope that they get a decent shooter. Like Larry Nance, you mentioned, he's a decent shooter, better defender than he is a shooter. He'd be fine. I think he's probably as good as Rashad Holmes. If not, I think Rashad Holmes might be a little better for the role he plays. But it'll be interesting to see what that is. But it'll really make them thin. But I think Donovan Mitchell next to De'Aaron Fox, exciting. Sabonis, awesome. I think I'm so down for this.
Yeah,
if they can do it.
Yeah, I think that's, box office for sure. I wonder if the fit between Fox and Mitchell will be, perfect. But I think those guys are talented enough; they can figure it out. Hopefully,
I think
regardless, bring in a guy like Mitchell. You try to, just bring in that sort of talent. I think it's always going to be the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I think Donovan Mitchell would be excited for it. All things considered, he's going to a place that already has 2 stars. Plus, you're going to California. I don't see much downside aside from it being the Kings. But I feel like players players like Donovan Mitchell, like he was excited when he showed up to the Jazz. Like he doesn't care that they're had a losing code that they never won. He was like, I'm gonna make this a winning team. He did what he can, and now I think if he goes to the Kings, they have stars, he'll be just as excited. I think we'll get to see that vigor back into him.
Yeah, I think it'd be a really exciting team. I still think there's a lot of definite smoke around Donovan Mitchell wanting to go to the Knicks. So do the Knicks put up quite a package where the Jazz can't say no? Can they put up a better package than the Kings?
I think if they did, it'd be a huge leverage on their future. Like they would be 3 or 4 picks and pick swaps, 3, 4, or 5, much like the Paul George trade to OKC was.
Yeah, I think some team will be willing to do that, and it could be the Knicks for sure.
However, I do look at this Kings trade. If they're willing, Davion Mitchell, solid guy. Terrence Davis is a solid rotation player. Davion has a lot of potential. Getting 2 first-round picks, one of them is automatically at number 4, who you can get a decent player for. Plus, you're getting back a decent veteran. He's a good veteran, not decent veteran. As vets go, Harrison Barnes is really nice, all-around type player. So, I don't know if you can get a better guaranteed package where you know what you're getting out of the package than this.
Well, I'd say the Knicks would probably need to give up RJ Barrett, who would be a pretty nice piece to get back if you're the Jazz, and then a couple first-round picks on top of that, plus maybe Emmanuel Quigley or something. I bet the Jazz are yeah, maybe that's what we want to do. Maybe.
But if the Kings offer this 4th pick, it's also really interesting because they're like, we get to pick the 4th pick, because the Jazz are instead of we're getting back a star that they drafted, we get to draft somebody at 4.
Which is a lot different. Yeah, a lot different than, saying, okay, we'll just get back RJ Barrett. But, depends on what that front office thinks. Obviously, that front office is on fire. Otherwise, Quinn Snyder would not have jumped ship. I think that news report that we saw in regards to Mitchell not liking that Quinn stepped down, or that he felt uneasy, I think that's just kind of more let's get this news story out there.
I'm just here to tell you guys, like and subscribe, but please do that. Also comment below, let us know what you guys thought about this video. If you want to roast us. If you want to compliment us, please, I need compliments.